and thank you, Director, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
On March 1st, 2021, Joe Biden said that it's time for the American people to get back to work. More than a year later, only 1 in 3 federal workers has returned to the workplace since the start of COVID, and far fewer than that right here in Washington, D.C. In fact, a leaked memo that I have here from January 2021 to the then Chief of Staff at the Department of Health and Human Services showed that between 20 and 30% of the department's employees did not even log into work on any given day between March and December of 2020. Mr. Chairman, I do ask for unanimous consent to submit this into the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Because these bureaucrats have basically joined the pajama party, the federal government has somehow gotten even worse at serving the American taxpayers, from significant backlogs in case management and lengthy response times. These are issues that I deal with on a regular basis with my constituents who are having frustrations with federal agencies. These federal agencies have been unable to process retirement paperwork for our seniors, correct errors on tax returns, and even fulfill requests for veterans to access files in order to access life-saving medical care. Now, Director Ahuja, do you know as of today what percentage or the number of federal employees that have returned to work full-time in person at their agency office?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I've mentioned before I don't have that specific data.
Thank you, Director. So you had mentioned that there is a public report, correct?
The telework report that we issue every year.
Correct. So we've gone through that report, that public report. It's the Remote Telework Enhancement to Enterprise Human Resources Integration Data Files. That number's not in there.
Well, I did mention also that we just released new data variables that we're going to be collecting through the payroll service providers in order to be able to have more specific data.
So are you telling me that federal agencies track this percentage, or they're going to begin tracking the percentage of employees that return to work in person?
Well, the data is there. We just want to be able to bring it into one house and to be able to automate it.
Where is it currently if it's not under one house?
Well, the agencies house that data through their payroll providers, and that is...
And you weren't able to collect those and bring them in before your report was submitted yesterday? Why is this something that's brand new that you're looking into providing?
I think what you're referring to is the memo that we announced that we are actually going to be setting up the collection, and we want to be able to give agencies time.
I just don't understand why OPM, the director, would not know how many federal employees have returned full-time to work in person. Even if other agencies have this information, why don't you have that information? Director, according to the OPM website, it is official policy for the federal employee to receive a lump sum payment for any unused annual leave when he or she separates from federal service. Meaning if any employee does not use all of their vacation time, they will receive payments sometimes totaling multiple thousands of dollars. Now, normal vacation days no longer have to be reported in the traditional sense under agency telework policies, allowing employees to claim that they will be teleworking and instead, well, they're spending all day at a swim-up bar in Cabo. So with over 25% of department employees not logging into work without agency officials or even the director of the OMB noticing, can you tell me, Director Ahuja, are the American taxpayers paying bureaucrats thousands of dollars to vacation under the guise of agencies' telework policies?
Well, Congresswoman, I actually take issue with the characterization that there's a change in policy. I'll tell you at OPM, individuals have to document their hours every pay period, and so I'm not aware of the policy change that you're speaking about.
You're not aware of any employee taking something that one would consider a vacation time and bringing their computer and maybe logging in just a portion of that time, or not at all? We have more than 25% of federal employees not logging into work, and they're teleworking.
Congresswoman, I do take issue with the characterization that 25% of individuals are not logging in.
It's in this leaked document right here that we just submitted into the record.
You're basing that from 2020, which was in the last administration, and I can't speak to that particular incident, and I don't know
Do you
the
currently know how
particulars.
many employees are logging in for telework? Do you have that number?
Congresswoman, that's not a
So
number
we don't
that I
know,
would
we don't know
have.
anyone who's working full-time, part-time, in-person, telework. We have no idea.
Well, that's based on the agencies and the supervisors and managers, and they would know that.
Do you or do you not oversee personnel in the federal government?
We oversee personnel policy. Agencies manage their employees.
And you have no documentation of what employees are actually working, in person or telework?
Agencies manage
I
their
hope that
telework
this
and remote
gets
work
straightened out. I
agreements.
hope that you get reports under one house. And please, do it soon for the sake of the American taxpayer. Thank you, and I yield.
Gentlelady yields back. Chair recognizes Ms. Porter from California for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to start by recognizing